Hey everybody. I get this question a lot hey doc, I didn't do anything, and how did I get like this? So I wanted to explain kind of what the 3T's in chiropractic are. So we call them traumas, thoughts, and toxins, or physical, chemical, and emotional stress. And those are the three stressors, and how we break that down to make sense out of what's happening in our bodies. The nervous system's job is to perceive its environment, adapt to that stress, and control and coordinate all function to all cells, tissues, systems, and organs in our whole body. And when that system gets overwhelmed with the stress, it creates interference. We call that subluxation. And then the body no longer self-heals and regulates the way it's supposed to. So let's start with the stressors. 3T's. I'm going to start with physical stress. That's the one that everybody associates with some kind of back pain or whatever that's going on. It could be headaches or whatever your symptoms are. And physical stress is our slips, our falls, our accidents, whether we were in a car accident or fell out of a treehouse when we were a kid or jumped off a roof. We all do weekend warrior stuff and we do silly things. And those are our physical stressors. And every single one of those accidents is cumulative. It builds each one on the last. And if we don't get that corrected and adjusted, then it just sits in there and builds over time. Okay? The other physical stressors that we run across are repetitive motions. So for those of you that sit at a desk or a computer, we're in a constant state of non-motion, which is just as detrimental as too much motion. So when we're talking about physical stressors, I'm always looking for the different things that could be impacting you. How do we hold our arm? How do we sit at a desk? Are we forward in that weird posture and position? Are we not taking enough breaks to get up and just move every few minutes? Because the longer we stay in front of those computers, the more we get drawn in and the more tense we get, and the shoulders come up, and the next thing you know, we're all up in everybody's chili. So we have to kind of have reminders to alleviate some of those stressors, and obviously do something about it when we have a big stress, like a slip or fall or an accident. So typically that's what we see. When you got someone come in and let's say they have, low back pain and they slipped on the ice and fell off the curb, or, they were just in a car wreck. That's pretty self-explanatory as far as, I had a cause and now I have a problem or a symptom. So let's finish these. We got chemical stress. Now, chemical stress is everything we eat, drink, breathe, what we put into and on our bodies. It's literally everything that we're exposed to. So it can be the toxins in your air. It can be the toxins in your water. And I'm not going to go down those rabbit holes today, but we need clean air and we need clean water. The other things are our food and our diet, and and GMOs, and you got pesticides, and we got herbicides, and we got all sorts of fun stuff that our food has in it already. We got plastics from the ocean. The animals are eating the plants that have the plastics in them. Now they got plastic in them, and it's hard to find good clean food, but we have to remember each one of those is a toxin that the body has to adapt to. Whether it's super clean, organic, farm fresh, whatever, chicken, then that's great, but it's still something that your body has to engage and process, okay? And the other thing is our medications. We're inundated with medications, over-the-counter medications in particular, that everybody has easy access to. They just reach into their cabinet and they got a symptom and they throw a pill at it. And every single time that we do that, your body has to recover from the pill as well. And this holds true for vaccines as well. And I know that's a hot topic for a lot of people, but it's pretty undeniable that what they're putting into your body is a toxin. And if you look at the enlisted ingredients, it is very toxic. And even if you choose to do that, you have to do things to help cleanse the body of those toxins, to help the body. And on the flip side, every single one of those builds on the last. It adds more and more stress to your nervous system. The third one is thoughts. That's our emotional stress. So it could be tax season and we have a big bill to pay, or you come home and there's been some weather damage to your fence and it's going to be a big ticket item, and money's a big stressor for everybody. And all of those things kind of add up as well. Just like, we're driving down the street and someone runs a stop sign in front of you. Well, what's that do? It gets your heart running, right? And you get that heart pounding and pulsing. That's a stress response that your body was very acute to do. And that was very important for it to do as well. We don't want it to stop doing that, but we can't stay in that fight or flight. So emotional stress, what I call emotional traumas, is things like the family pet dies. I know that one all too well. And it's really, really difficult on us. Or we lose a loved one, a close family member or friend, or it could be a tragic accident or too young, any kind of death. So we got death and taxes and money. All of those things are very stressful for our adults. But what does that look like for a kid? A kid gets up and they go to school and you're like, you don't have anything to stress about, but they're learning to navigate their social realm. And that in itself is very, very stressful. And on top of the social realm, they're learning new information. And that's taxing on the brain. Those are mental stressors, okay? Every time we learn something new, if you're listening to this and you learn something new, it's an adaptation that your body has to make to that new knowledge. It's got to create a neural pathway, and it's got to remember that. And then we have to be able to recall it. So all of that stuff takes energy and effort, and it takes the nervous system to be able to function at its highest potential. And what are some other thoughts as I think about things? So kids also, they go out to sports and they're not as good as they think they should be, or their parents think they should be, and they get a lot of pressure. Those are all mental stressors on our kids. So they go through the same stressors that we do as adults. If the husband and wife come home and at dinner all they do is whine and complain and vent about their day and about their boss and about their job and about this guy and about that girl and all these different ways that we complain and be negative, those are felt by everyone in the household, even your pets. Okay, they respond to that energy. They respond to the positives and negatives. So when we're talking about physical, chemical, and emotional stress, it's all of it together. We talk about the perfect storm here at the office, and it's all of those things together. It wasn't one thing that caused one thing. It's all of it. And we're constantly under stress every single day. Now, we can choose, right, to limit those stresses. We can choose to eliminate casein from our diet, and we can choose to eliminate GMOs from our diet, and we can choose to limit dairy, and we can choose to eat as clean as possible. Those are all wonderful things. We can get up, we can go to the gym, we can do the physical stuff that's supposed to be good for us. And then we can do our meditation, and we can do all of those wonderful things to help keep our mind clear and help it keep it positive and productive and moving forward. And I will always encourage all of those things, and we can make hours and hours of videos on each one of those topics. But here's the deal. Your body has to adapt to all that stuff too. And the missing component in health for a lot of people is that nervous system. It got stressed. The system got stuck on in that stress mode, and when it does, it's in protective mode. And it can't be in growth and healing and calm and peace and rest and digest if it's in stress. And so that's where the chiropractic adjustment comes in. And we take a look at all these stressors because that's where your low back hurt comes. well, if I could say it right, that's where your low back pain comes from. It wasn't that one time that you bent over to pick up that piece of paper and then you fell on your face because your muscles spasmed in your back. It was everything else that led up to that, everything combined. And it just beat the system down, and then we get interference on the system. When that system gets interfered with, then the muscle system no longer functions properly. Now muscles in the spine aren't in balance. And when muscles aren't in balance, guess what happens? They move bones. Bones move out of place. Guess what? That puts pressure and stretch, irritation on those nerves. And when those nerves are stretched and irritated, guess what? The muscles go back into spasm. So it becomes a circular problem. And so we have to get in there and get to the root cause, right? That's the bone out of place. Not necessarily. It's the interference on the system. So we have to figure out how we can get the system to balance, and that's what we do. Thank you guys.